ARC team, and the title of his speech is ARC Team and the OpArc Project, Open Source and Archaeology. Welcome on stage.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Luca Bezzi, and I'm an archaeologist. And today I would like to share my experience and the experience of the society, the company that I co-founded more than 20 years ago, in applying open source philosophy to archaeology with the OpArc project, OpArc Archaeology project. So two words about ARC team. We are a company that works in many fields of archaeology, from forensic facial reconstruction, field archaeology, digital archaeology, mission abroad, the so-called extreme archaeology, and also archaeorobotics. I guess you know what archaeology is, but here in simple, we dig, we recognize layers, we codify them, and at the end on the right side you see the Harris matrix, that is a graphical representation of the history of a site through the reading of this layer. Since the beginning we understood that working in archaeology with software we needed source code, also because archaeology is a very small sector of the market for software houses, so we use generic software, but we need to adapt it to our specific needs, so open source for us was the good solution. And of course, we started with open software, and then we started also with open hardware for the same reason, and started with archaeorobotics. That's more or less our view about open archaeology. It's like a chain with many links. We need open tools. We need to work with open tools to share our knowledge, so open knowledge, and also to work with open data to reach a kind of open research, in our opinion. The benefits are many. For example, in short term, we build in the time a good partner network. Then in medium term, there are benefits also for archaeology itself, and in long term is a benefit for the community. What happened is one of these links is broken. For example, if we cannot work with open tools, open software, for example, we reduce our control on the cognitive processes. We need to know which algorithm the software uses because maybe it's not doing what we wanted. If we don't share our results, we reduce the scientific potential of our research. And if we don't use open data, we reduce the validatability of our theories, because if nobody can check the data, nobody can say if what we think is right or not. So now I would like to analyze each one of these links, starting with open tools and starting with software. Maybe you don't know, but in archaeology we use a wide range of software, from GIS to database, vector, raster, and voxel graphic software, statistical software, structure for motion. There's a lot of things, 3D model and 3D modeler, and so on. In 2002, we were able to complete our migration from closed software to open source software. And in 2005, we thought to share our knowledge in this, building the first GNU Linux distribution for archaeology. It was called ArcOS. That was the first version, a Kenaton. And the last version was in 2015, after 5 releases, that was called Theodoric. Nowadays, I would say that this project is dead, because I don't think there is no more need for an archaeological distro, because now, for example, I use Debian with apt-get. I can get all the software I need, while years ago I had to compile it, and it was a good idea to share it. But last year, during a conference in archaeology, someone asked me why we don't distribute ArcOS anymore. And they told me that was useful also as a simple list of software to be used in archaeology. So I just made a simple list of software on GitHub. If someone is interested, I update it very slowly, but now it's just a software list on GitHub. Regarding software development, our experience started in 2008 because we were invited in Berlin in this Topo Excellent cluster. And in that time, we were working on structure for motion, which is a kind of photogrammetry. From a picture, you can get 3D. And in that time, a French student, Pierre Molon, I think now is working on the NESA, he was developing this software, Python photogrammetry toolbox, so we collaborated making the graphical user interface and share the code, of course. In 2020, we built an archaeological manager for our work, and we usually, mainly on the right side, you see the screenshot from mobile, because we are on the field, so we have to record a lot of data, and that's a useful tool. And now we are working also developing very sectorial software for routine operation that can be long. For example, on the left side, you see a software that we've developed just to clean sonar data for underwater archaeology. But of course, as I told you, our tools are not only software. So in 2006, we started what is later has been called archaeorobotics. So we started to build drones, essentially, like UAVs, so unmanned aerial vehicle. That was our first project. Then a ROV, remote operated vehicle, and unmanned surface vessel, mainly for underwater archaeology. Then we built some CNC machine, like 3D printer. And on the right side, you see some single devices like speed reducer or a SLAM device. SLAM is simultaneous localization and mapping to build 3D in real time. I think it's simple to understand why a drone is important in archaeology. We can perform surveys on large, wide landscape, and also perform 3D documentation from the sky. So between 2006 and 2014, we developed 4 main prototypes of our archaeodrone, starting from open source, open hardware project, essentially the UAVP project from Austria. In 2015, we collaborated with WITLab, that was the Fab Lab of Rovereto, and I think now they're based here in the OpArc, to build the ArcheoRov and the ArcheoBot for underwater archaeology. We built a CNC machine like a 3D printer, an open hardware one, was called Falla 3D. On the right, you see is printing the skull of the Homo georgicus, and the bottom you can see that we used it also to print an artifact that was inside a mummy, of course taking it out from the X-ray tomography. And also other device, for example, in Iran we combine it with our drone, robotic pole, telescopic pole, or we use a speed reducer for drilling operation underwater, or SLAM device for deep forest penetration or underground penetration to get 3D in real time. But of course, the second link is also very important, open knowledge, essentially didactics. We started in 2006 in Armenia with Aramus e-learning project with the University of Innsbruck and Yerevan. Then we teach on the Master UNESCO Open Technet. And of course, we collaborate with many universities around Europe, teaching open source applied to archaeology. Of course, it's not only didactics. We try to share our know-how. We start in 2011 with our blog, Arc Team Open Research. And in 2006, we co-founded a specific conference about archaeology and open source called Archeophos, that is still alive, incredibly, so it's going on. And then contributes to Wiki Universe, like Editathon, open source exhibition like this one, Imago Animi. Recently, we work on the 3D documentation of Ötzi. So we share the knowledge with other teams that have the same problem. For example, in Peru, we met the team that is working on Juanita, another frozen mummy. And they had the problem in 3D documenting it, and we explained how we did and which software we use that is also open source. 2 words about open data. The main project we did about it is a Taung project. So it was the paleoartistic facial reconstruction of the Taung child, which is one of the main fossil of human evolution. But we also developed a lot of WebGIS. This one was for the MIBAC, the Minister of Culture, was called Raptor, to share archaeological data. Then we developed another one for the Museo Nazionale Archeologico of Taranto. Now Italy has its own, a new one, and finally there is a new unified WebGIS to share archaeological data. That's great. And I conclude with a few words about open science, because the good things, I think, is that our research has some derivation in different fields, in different science. For example, thanks especially to the research of our 3D forensic specialist, Cicero Moraes. The same technique were applied later in surgery, especially human surgery and also veterinary. And for example, from the Archedrone, another society in Iris built a drone for precision agriculture, derived from the Archedrone, and they use it inside the project Rasemus. And I think this topic, open research or open science now, how it's called nowadays, is a hot topic because 2 years ago they invited us for the 100 year of the CNR, and they organized some roundtable about open science. And we had the opportunity to speak with the specialists, for example, for the Torino Museo Egizio or the Uffizi to speak about open data and open science in this cultural field. And I know this presentation is a little bit strange because it's a specific field, but I hope that could be interesting for someone if you want to keep in contact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luca. I think your talk was really interesting because you showed the adaptation of these technologies in your field, but you show that there are a lot of possibility also in different fields. That's a very future-oriented, and there are a lot of collaboration that came to my mind as well, working at Stony Tech Park. Are there any questions from the public? Yes, in the end, my colleague is coming.
Thank you, Luca. Actually, it's quite impressive how much you achieved with open source free software and open approaches. I have two questions. One about the Archeo drone. So why you needed to do like a new thing, and what's the different thing about this drone in the context of what you had to do? And the second thing, I guess it would be interesting for us to hear what is one major finding or anything that through technology you or your clients, your partners managed to find that they would not be able to otherwise find in their archaeological researches? Thank you.
Well, regarding the Archedrone, we started in 2006 because we needed it. At least 2005 we did a project in Armenia and they gave us an helicopter. But that, of course, is not a normal situation. The military gave us an helicopter, say you can use it. But we understood that we needed something different, something that we could really use. So I was studying a little bit, and at that time there were two main projects about drones. One was the Paparazzi project. That was a nice project for France, but was pretty generic because you could use it to build quadcopters or rigid wing drones that is something different. And there was an Austrian project, the UAVP, that was strictly for quadcopters. So I chose that one, and we adapted it to archaeology with some minor modification, a kind of rudimentary, how it's called, FPV, first-person view, that later was no more, let's say we worked very good till 2014, because later come ENAC and all the regulation. But normally in open hardware, our project were open hardware project adapted to archaeology. For example, for the ROV, we needed a ROV with a frontal camera to pilot, but also a ventral camera to document in 3D underwater. And I think the main advantage was, for example, also in archaeorobotics. For example, we went to Iran, and there is the embargo. So we could go there with the drone, but not with GPS and FPV. So we built a drone, we could put our hand on our drone, and we unbuild GPS and FPV. Then we took the airplane in Vienna, and nobody could say nothing because we were allowed to take a drone. If we were working with a closed sort of drone, we could not do the same. So I think in our field, open source is really something that helps you very, very much.
Thank you.
Another question, if I can. Just it's out of the open source part, but it was very interesting. As I'm a researcher at the Faculty of Engineering here in UniBZ. I wanted to ask you, how much of the unknown from the side of archaeology is possible to fill with technology? Do you think that there is much more to discover?
There is very much, because, for example, if we also speak about money. We built a drone in 2006, and that time maybe you could buy one for 50, 60,000 euro, and we built it with 1,500. Now, for example, for the next project, will be nice to have a Raman spectrometer that maybe you can build it for 15,000 till 30,000 euro, but you could build the open Raman spectrometer, an open hardware project for 3,000 euro. And I think this, the problem is these tools, software and hardware, are often developed not for archaeology, but having the possibility to modify them, that's the main things for us. The source code, you can modify it. If you give me the source code, but I cannot modify it, it's not very important for me, but I need to modify it to adapt it to my specific need, because each project is different. Each project needs new solution often, so you have to adapt it to the new reality, and you never know what you are going to do, which will be the difficulties. So that's the main thing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.